Something major is happening in finance, and most people aren't paying attention yet. Tokenization isn't exploding loudly. It's advancing quietly, methodically, and that's exactly what makes it dangerous to ignore. While the market is distracted by daily price candles, the real story is unfolding underneath. In the past day alone, real-world assets moving on-chain have surged, not as experiments, not as pilots, but as live, operational financial infrastructure. This is the phase where systems get built, and history shows us something important. Once the rails exist, capital doesn't move slowly, it moves all at once. A new data release just made that impossible to deny. Token Terminal now tracks over 1,800 tokenized assets across global markets. Stablecoins, funds, equities, commodities. That number isn't impressive by itself. What matters is what it signals. This is the largest shift in financial infrastructure since markets went digital. Assets are no longer being tested on blockchain rails. They're being issued there, settled there, managed there. And here's the part that surprises most people. By institutional standards, this is still early. Zoom out and the pattern becomes clear. In the last 24 hours, an entire wave of tokenized products went live. And they didn't come from crypto startups, they came from legacy financial institutions. The same institutions known for moving slowly until they suddenly don't. Which leads to one of the most underreported moves of the week. Robinhood quietly launched 500 tokenized stocks on Arbitrum. Not a test batch, not a proof of concept, 500 live tokenized equities deployed almost overnight. And their CEO summed it up perfectly. Slowly, then all at once. That phrase describes every major financial transition. The internet didn't replace newspapers overnight.
Electronic trading didn't appear in a single day. But once the infrastructure was ready, adoption accelerated faster than anyone expected. Robinhood isn't just offering tokenized stocks. They're building their own Layer 2 network specifically for tokenized equities. That tells you this isn't an add-on, it's a base layer decision. Most people see this and think, that's interesting. People who understand market structure think, this changes everything. Once equities exist natively on-chain, there's no incentive to go back. Faster trading, instant settlement, global access. Legacy systems can't compete with that. This isn't an upgrade cycle, it's a system replacement in motion. And the timing matters. Markets feel messy right now. Prices are sideways. Sentiment is low. That's not a coincidence. Foundational changes never happen when excitement is high. They happen when attention is low. Being early doesn't feel exciting. It feels boring. It feels frustrating. It feels slow. But this is where positioning happens. Institutions don't chase momentum. They build during uncertainty. To understand how big this really is, you have to step back even further. Financial markets have evolved in layers. Paper systems, electronic records, digital trading, native digital assets. Tokenization is the next layer, not a deviation, a continuation. And according to firms like Securitize, we're still at the very beginning.
Yet they see a realistic path to 1,000x growth over the next decade. Not because of speculation, but because financial systems always migrate towards efficiency. And here's the critical part. Not every blockchain benefits from this shift. Tokenization doesn't care about narratives, it cares about reliability. Can the network stay online? Can it scale under load? Can it settle cheaply and predictably? If the answer is no, institutions won't use it. Tokenized assets don't sit idle. They trade continuously. They're used as collateral. They're borrowed, lent, and rehypothecated. All day, every day. That kind of activity compounds demand, which is why settlement networks matter more than price charts. Capital doesn't want excitement. It wants certainty. Market cap doesn't decide winners. Infrastructure does. Deterministic fees, high throughput, regulatory alignment, integration with existing systems. That's where the competition really is. This is also why 24/7 markets are inevitable. Traditional markets close because legacy systems can't operate safely nonstop. Tokenized markets remove that limitation. Assets can trade anytime, settle instantly, adjust collateral in real time. Multiply that by thousands of assets operating globally nonstop. That's exponential growth. And short-term price volatility doesn't stop it. Infrastructure is always built when markets feel uncertain. By the time prices reflect adoption, the foundation is already complete. Retail waits for confirmation. Institutions build causes. Another overlooked advantage is programmability. Dividends, corporate actions, compliance, risk management. All automated. That's not convenience. That's a structural advantage. Which is why regulatory clarity accelerates tokenization instead of slowing it. Institutions don't fear rules. They require them. Once the framework exists, capital moves decisively. This isn't anti-traditional finance. This is traditional finance rebuilt for efficiency. Banks aren't disappearing, they're upgrading. And this transition doesn't happen one asset at a time. It happens in batches, exactly like launching 500 tokenized stocks overnight. Tokenization isn't about speculation. The biggest impact comes from boring systems, settlement, treasury operations, collateral management. Removing friction unlocks trapped capital. That capital gets redeployed. More liquidity, more strategies, more activity. That demand doesn't fade in bear markets. It's structural. This isn't a trend. It's gravity. Once a better system exists, resistance becomes costly. Then, irrelevant. We're now in the quiet phase, the build-out before acceleration. Tokenization won't arrive with an announcement. One day markets will just work differently, and people will wonder how the old system lasted so long. Not financial advice, just the direction the rails are pointing. And once rails are ready, the flow is inevitable.